I think I'd like to talk a little bit about file compression, especially when we're talking about these big bitmaps. I happen to have chosen that Fish Market BMP, and if you've worked any with BMP files, you know that's probably the largest graphic format that we could work with. Inside of our FLA file, our FLA extension file, it's going to be saved as a BMP file, so we have access to the original graphic. But when we export this as a SWF, we're probably going to want to be using some compression on it. I'd like to take a look at a couple of settings where we can control the compression of these files because it'll dictate a little bit about your use of the BMPs, and you also want to be aware of how much size you're adding to your file with each graphic as you pop it in. So I'm going to take a look at one of two areas that's going to control the compression of the file, and that's going to be the publish settings. I'm going to be working specifically in the Flash area. Now on the PC these will show up as just tabbed areas in the folder. On the Macintosh it'll show up as buttons, as you can see here. In the Flash settings, these settings allow me to set up how my SWF file is going to be compressed and generated with different settings, like for instance the version of the Flash player that we started with from before. Now the area that I'm looking for right now is this one on JPEG quality at the bottom. By default, when you bring in images into the library and you use them on the stage, when the program makes the SWF file, it'll take whatever images you have and make sure that they're going to be dropped into a JPEG. Now you can change that setting, but what we're talking about here is what the default settings of the program are going to do. This one setting here allows you to set your default JPEG setting. You've got a quality slider here, which if you've made a JPEG before, I'm sure you're used to. Our JPEGs are lossy, so using a lower quality setting is going to result in a worse looking image, in general speaking. So you can pick what level you'd like to set your JPEGs at. And this BMP right now will be compressed as a JPEG with an 80 quality setting. And while we're here, let's make a change to one more setting, and that's up in the options. I'm going to click on Generate Size Report. This is a really handy feature to use, especially at the end of your project when you're trying to determine the compression levels of different elements in your movie file. I'm going to use it now so we can do some direct comparisons of the before and after of our BMP file so we can see what the JPEG compression is going to do to it. Now with those settings turned on, whenever we make a SWF file, the publish settings will kick in and we'll be seeing the results of those two settings. I'm going to do a quick test movie of our project right now. Now we don't have a whole heck of a lot going on, but I want to see a few things about the project as it drops in. Now the generate size is what forced the output window to drop up, and the output window has, let me make this a little bit bigger here, has a little description of everything in our movie file. Now we don't have a whole lot going on in our movie. We've only got, looks like, 2 bitmap files and a shape file in there. But you can see it giving me a report showing me the compressed and the original sizes of both of these images as they drop in and the settings that are being used to achieve them. You can see that my original BMP version is about 1.9 megs. That's pretty big. I told you those BMP files were really huge. But the compressed version using the JPEG quality 80 setting is coming in at, what does that look like, 104K. So we're less than 20 times the original size of the original file as it came in.